Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the MeanGene Show, streaming live here on Podbean. It's a Tuesday, April 12th, 2022, and we are here to talk about the NBA playoffs, which will get underway here in a couple of hours with the play-in tournament. I don't know how you feel about the play-in tournament. I have voiced my opinions about it many times, including some of the guests I've had on my show. We have talked about this, but regardless of how you feel about it, it's here and it looks like it's here to stay. So, nevertheless, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the NFL draft a little bit. So, I told you a couple of weeks ago that we would jump into the draft and look at some of the team needs. So on this particular show, we're going to actually talk about the first five teams that will be drafting and their team needs. So before the draft gets here, I promise you, I would have talked about all 32 teams, or at least the first round. Okay, so the first round, I would make sure I go over the first round and what teams are likely going to do as far as or what their needs are. Now, I can tell you what their needs are. Now, they might actually do something completely different. And, that's just how it goes because sometimes in the NFL draft, it's all based upon, okay, well, you may not need this person, but that particular player is the best one on the board. So you really don't have a choice. So you might have to. But anyway, so we'll get into all of that. The NFL draft is going to take place April 28th at Caesars Forum in Las Vegas. The Mean Gene Show will be there. As a matter of fact, I just got clearance from the NFL to be there. So this will make my third draft. So looking forward to it. The first one I did was in Chicago. It was the first one they actually did after so many years in New York. They decided to do the draft outside of New York, give fans a chance to be part of it. So that was in Chicago at the Roosevelt Theater. And the next draft I went to was at Texas Stadium in Arlington. Well, is it Texas Stadium? AT&T Stadium. I'm so sorry. Not Texas Stadium. That's the old stadium that was in Irving, but it was at Jerry's World. That's the more appropriate term. So that was a fun one to be at. And then, so this will be my third one. So I'm so looking forward to it. And man, that's going to be coming up real soon here. I mean, we're talking about less than 3 weeks, the NFL draft. And in addition to attending the draft, and this is an opportunity where we get to sit there, watch the draft, watch the commissioner come out and make his picks. And of course, we get to interview the first round draft picks for that night, April 28th. And of course, we will do a show at the Westgate Resort Casino and Sportsbook. Now, you guys know when I was on KDWN 720 AM 101.5 FM in Las Vegas during the football season, the sponsor of the Mean Gene Show was the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. So we're going to be there doing a pre-draft show. It's going to be an early morning show. We're going to do it on the iHeart Radio platform. So I'll give you more details as we get closer to that event, but make sure you are listening. And that's going to be fun. A couple of my friends are going to join me at the casino, and we might even have some call-in guests as well. So that's going to be very, very interesting. So I want to make sure that you guys are going to be listening for that. So man, just so much going on here, and hey, I'm not behind the eight ball because man, you might be watching a lot of folks on ESPN, Fox, or what have you doing these mock drafts. Now I have never been one to do a mock draft, but I'm going to do one this year because I'm really so into it. I've watched a lot of film on some of these top prospects, and some of it is spectacular. And when you watch some of the talent that's going to be entering this draft this year, oh my goodness, it's going to be a good draft. It's going to be a good draft from an offensive line perspective, from a defensive perspective, even the quarterback position. There's a couple of quarterbacks, and depending on the team needs, and if you need a quarterback, you should get one. Running backs, not too many running backs in this draft, and I don't know if anyone's going to draft one in the first round. But there's some great wide receivers out there, some tight ends. I mean, there's something for everyone. So it's going to be a good draft. So I'm really looking forward to it. Now, interesting news here, sports news. So I just thought I would share this with you because this is really, really crazy. You guys all remember Herschel Walker, the great running back from Georgia, who actually played with the Dallas Cowboys. And remember, the Dallas Cowboys made that huge trade with the Minnesota Vikings. They traded Herschel Walker and got a ton of draft picks that led to the Cowboys going and getting to the Super Bowl in the 90s and having that great success because they got so many good draft picks from the Herschel Walker trade. Well, anyway, Herschel Walker, what is he doing now? Well, the football great Herschel Walker is running for the United States Senate in Georgia. But for some reason, he was a no-show for a Republican candidates debate last Saturday night. I'm not sure what happened. If you're running for senator, you might want to show up for something important like a debate. So anyway, Herschel Walker has gotten into politics and he's running for senator. I think if you're going to win, you might need to show up for the debate. So that's what I'm saying. So anyway, my goodness. So topics tonight, of course, we're going to talk about the NBA draft. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. The play-in tournament begins tonight. So we got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. They're going to be playing for a chance to get into the seventh seed. So the winner of tonight's game is going to be your seventh seed. So that should be exciting. And then you're also going to have the Clippers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are going to play tonight. So that's going to be exciting as well. And we'll talk about that. The WNBA draft took place last night in New York City. And I haven't been to a WNBA draft, but it was really exciting. And I like the fact that they are really sort of modeling their draft after the NBA draft. It's just so interesting to see. These girls play just as hard as the guys. They ball. They really do ball. The number one pick of the WNBA draft, it was actually the Washington Mystics sent that pick over to Atlanta. So the Atlanta Dream got the pick, and it was Rhyne Howard from Kentucky. She was the number one pick, followed by Nalissa Smith. She went to the Indiana Fever. Nalissa played with the Baylor Bears. And Shakira Austin, she actually went to the Washington Mystiques from the Atlanta Dream. They traded picks there. And Shakira Austin played with Ole Miss. And man, just a great evening of WNBA basketball, the draft. It was just really interesting to see. And according to the WNBA, they have not forgotten about Brittany Griner. She is still over in Russia, and they are trying everything they can to get her back. So, man, I tell you, she is expected to actually have something going on with her trial or her case next month. So they sort of put things off. They had a chance to move on it, but they didn't. So we won't know. So she's going to be stuck over there until, well, at least May before anything even moves on her case. And, she's just sort of a victim of Russian propaganda, which is so unfortunate. But anyway, our prayers go out to Brittany Griner, and we want to make sure she gets back. And of course, we also want to talk about, and since we are mentioning thoughts and prayers, we want to mention Dwayne Haskins. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire Steelers organization. Man, Dwayne Haskins tragically dies at the age of 24 in a stunning tragedy that took place over the weekend. He died on Saturday morning after being hit by a dump truck while walking on an interstate in Florida. And Haskins had been in Fort Lauderdale to work with several of his Steelers teammates. And man, that was just tragic, tragic way. I think I woke up Saturday morning, was, watching TV, just watching Sports Center, watching, and just trying to see what was going to happen for the day in sports. And man, that thing hit early. And when you get information like that, you're just trying to see like, okay, is this true? What happened, and information is so sketchy and shaky when it comes, because it's coming at you at all angles, whether it's Fox, it's on the internet, unreliable sources, and all of this great stuff. But man, as the day went on, we found out it was true, and even as of right now, we still don't know exactly what caused it. Okay, so we kind of know how it happened, we know what happened, but we don't know what caused it, and that's the thing that you got to be careful when you're reporting, and you got to be careful not to speculate on what caused this accident, this tragedy. So, more information should be coming from the state of Florida, the authorities down there, and as far as what caused Dwayne Haskins accident. So we'll find out. But anyway, Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh my goodness! So Ben Roethlisberger, he announces his retirement, and the quarterback position, the starting quarterback position, is really up for grabs for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they acquired Mitchell Trubisky. They have Mason Rudolph, and Mitchell Trubisky um, actually arranged for his new teammates, because the Steelers acquired Mitchell Trubisky in free agency, and he arranged for his teammates to meet him in Florida to, for a workout, for sort of a meet and greet, get to know each other type thing. And Dwayne Haskins, who was going to be competing with Mitchell Trubisky and Mason Rudolph for the starting job, went down there and decided to participate. So man, this is crazy. 24 years old and gone too soon. So anyway, we will find out more about that. But our thoughts and prayers, my thoughts and prayers, are with the Haskins family, the Ohio State University alumni, everyone there, who I know he meant a whole lot to that organization. He played for the Washington Commanders. No, it was the Washington football team at the time. And man, just really sad stuff. So, and I don't know how that's going to impact the Pittsburgh Steelers and their draft selection, as far as what they're going to do, and who they might draft. But I do know the Pittsburgh Steelers have the 20th pick in this draft, and I will get to that over the next week or so. But anyway, I just thought we would go ahead and mention that passing of Dwayne Haskins. What else we got going on there? So I tell you what, we are going to jump on into the NBA. Oh, and NBA news, of course. Now, Frank Vogel, I guess we could say former coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, was fired, dismissed, let go, however you want to look at it. He's out. And Alvin Gentry and the Sacramento Kings decided to part ways. Now, Alvin Gentry was an interim coach after the Kings decided to part ways with Luke Walton. And Frank Vogel, many people, including myself, thought Frank Vogel should have been fired long time ago now. A lot of people in the media would disagree with me. People are saying, nah, well, Vogel, who won a championship with the Lakers a couple of years ago when they were in the bubble, of course, they had a hell of a team. But I tend to think that Vogel, a lot of times coaching comes down to, okay, that team was that team. Management decided, okay, we're going to get rid of that team who had, they were the best defensive team in the league. they decided to bring on this super team that, I don't know if LeBron James convinced management into bringing Russell Westbrook and all Carmelo Anthony and this supporting cast of players that made this team old as I don't know what. And then of course, what comes with old age? Injuries. Okay, I can attest to that. Getting up every morning grabbing something that hurts, right? So these guys, became the oldest team in the NBA, and I don't know, but at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, well, you got Russell Westbrook, you got Carmelo Anthony, you got Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Dwight Howard, all these guys. As a coach, you still got to find a way to make it happen. So I totally agree and support the firing of Frank Vogel. That's just me. Because it's just, and I saw the Frank Vogel from last year and how he handled the Lakers and the Montrezl Harrell and deciding to not play him or put him in the doghouse. You just don't do that when you're trying to win. So they get ousted last year by the Phoenix Suns. They don't even make the playoffs this year. And thank goodness they didn't. Thank goodness they didn't get into the play-in. Lord knows we didn't need any extended agony because we had already gone through it the whole damn year with this Lakers team. And now Anthony Davis and LeBron James both feel that, had the team been healthy and all this, that, and the other, we could have made a run. Well, Anthony Davis, who is one of the younger ones on the team, was the one that was hurt most of the time. And so anyway, you sense I'm getting a little uptight. Every time I talk about the Lakers, I feel this way. So my blood pressure medicine is nowhere near me right now. So I probably should stop talking about the Lakers right now. But anyway, Frank Vogel is fired. I don't know who's going to be the next coach, but I think before they even think about that, they need to make sure that the GM knows what the hell he's doing. And I'm talking about Rob Pelinka. Apparently, Kurt Rambis is staying. Of course, Rob Pelinka is staying. So you got the same people making the same bad decisions. So anyway, I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, they're not in that tournament. They're not in the play-in tournament. They didn't make the playoffs. They're considering bringing AD, LeBron back and trying to make things happen. They are so strapped for cash, or there's just not a lot of money to bring on anybody. So we'll see. They might get someone decent in the NBA draft. I would expect some trades or something to happen with the Lakers. But anyway, uh, and Gentry, I don't know. I thought maybe Gentry had a chance. It looked like at one particular time the Sacramento Kings had a chance to get into the play-in tournament. And who knows, had Alvin Gentry been able to do that, maybe the Sacramento Kings would have held on to him. I met, I know Alvin Gentry. I hung around him quite a bit when I covered the Clippers back in 2001, 2002. Spent a lot of times with the Clippers, and I can't tell you how many post-game press conferences we spent talking with Alvin Gentry. And so I kind of think he's a good coach. He's probably one of the most experienced coaches in the NBA. Some would question whether or not he's a good head coach. Sometimes an assistant is a good assistant, and maybe that's what he should be. So anyway, uh, so we'll see. So Alvin Gentry will probably land somewhere. Maybe he's ready for the front office now. He's really been in the NBA a long time. So we'll see what happens with that. So let's talk about the NBA play-in uh, tonight and get some predictions here on what might happen with that, because wow, we got a decent matchup here with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. So 1 through 6 is set. 1 through 6, we know as far as the 3 and 6 will play each other. That's no problem. The 4 and 5 will play each other. We know that. in the Eastern Conference. What we don't know is who the number 1 seed is going to play and who the number 2 seed is going to play. And we don't know who's going to be the number 7 seed. So we should know with this game tonight with the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I knew Cleveland would make it. That wasn't necessarily a problem. Even though at one particular time Cleveland was up there. Um, so we knew that. We knew Cleveland was going to get in there. Cleveland is your 8th seed right now. So the winner of tonight's game is going to be your 7th seed. Okay. The loser will go on to play your 9th and 10th seed, and the winner of that game becomes your 8th seed. So Brooklyn Nets should win this game, and they should be your 7th seed. And if that's the case, then what we're looking at here is the Brooklyn Nets would play the Boston Celtics. Okay, if that's the case, if that's the case, so that's what these games are really. I mean, they even though we don't like them, and I'm not a fan of this play-in tournament, it does somewhat become interesting now, in a sense, because all eyes are on the Brooklyn Nets and the fact that Kyrie Irving is allowed to play, and we have um, Kevin Durant, and now we also are looking at Ben Simmons, who Ben Simmons is going to play. I'm not buying the TV BS and the hype. I know damn well Ben Simmons is going to play. Okay, I know Ben Simmons. I don't know if he's not going to play in this playing game tonight. Ben Simmons is going to play in this tournament or in this playoffs. I'm sorry. He's going to play. Okay, so he's going to play. You just pay attention to when, and you may not even get an announcement on when he's going to play. Steve Nash might just keep this very private, like he's going to play. They didn't go out and make this big trade and to bring Ben Simmons in for James Harden, and not have this guy play. If he doesn't play during this playoffs, you're going to have 2 people that are going to be looked at, and one is Kyrie Irving, who didn't get the vaccination, who and is one of the reasons why this team is in the play-in tournament. And then you're going to be looking at this Ben Simmons. Well, why did you go and get him? So don't worry, Ben Simmons is going to play. Brooklyn should win tonight, even though they have identical records at 44 and 38. I know Brooklyn is the better team. So look at Brooklyn to lock down that 7th seed. And as it stands right now, they will play the Boston Celtics, which would be one hell of a first round. You all know Kyrie Irving used to play with the Boston Celtics, so they would boo him every chance he touched the ball. So that's going to be exciting within itself. So I can almost bank on the 2-7 matchup. It's going to be Boston and the Brooklyn Nets. So then you look at Cleveland, will play the winner of the 9th and 10th seed, which would be Atlanta and Charlotte. And I tell you, at this particular time, Atlanta and Charlotte, they have identical records at 43 and 39. And I don't know if Cleveland is going to be the 8th seed. If I had to put money on it, and I would probably talk with Mr. Picks, and I would say Atlanta is probably going to be your 8th seed. Remember, Atlanta made it all the way to the conference finals last year. So for them to not make the playoffs would be, man, I would be worried about Nate McMillan's job in Atlanta. So you got Trae Young. That team is going to find a way to get in there. But Cleveland, woo. Now, I don't know. Terry Taylor, who I had on the show when we had the All Cleveland show a couple of weeks ago, he might disagree with me. It would be a good matchup. I think Atlanta is going to beat Charlotte, and I know Dustin Pfeiffer. You know what? Thinking about this, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. I'm going to piss off Terry Taylor in Cleveland, and I'm going to piss off my co-host doing the NFL, Dustin Pfeiffer in Charlotte, because I'm looking at Atlanta as getting that 8th seed. That's just ah, that's just what I'm saying. So either way, and then that 8th seed is going to play Miami when the NBA playoffs start on April 16th. So going over to the West, your second game tonight is going to be the Clippers and the Minnesota T-Wolves. I have been very high on the T-Wolves. Now, Paul George is back now. Paul George has been out for a long time. Paul George is back now with the Clippers. Make things a little bit more interesting. But man, Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, this Minnesota team, oh my goodness, they deserve that 7th seed. And man, it would be a disaster. Of course, they would get a second chance. The winner of tonight's game is going to be locked in at the 7th seed, and they are going to play the Memphis Grizzlies. And I got Minnesota winning tonight. I think Minnesota's going to win. I think the Clippers will play the winner of the Pelicans and the Spurs, to me, which is a complete toss-up. Okay. I remember the days when the Western Conference was the better conference and had the better records, but not so this year. You look at the 9th and 10th seed over there in the East have winning records. Well, the 9th and 10th seeds in the West, the Pelicans are 36 and 46, shouldn't be in the damn playoffs. The Spurs are 34 and 48, shouldn't be in the damn playoffs, right? Um, the T-Wolves and the Clippers are over 500, thank goodness. But anyway, I think the T-Wolves win tonight, and then I think the Clippers will probably beat either uh, the Pelicans or the Spurs. I couldn't tell you who's going to win between these two teams. I would put my money on Greg Popovich, I guess. I say the Spurs win maybe, and I think the Clippers are going to be your 8th seed, and they are going to play the Phoenix Suns in the first round of the Western Conference. I just think that's the way it's going to be. I think Paul George coming back is going to just add a different element to this playoffs, and I think that's basically the way it should be. It's only fair. It makes sense. I think that's just the way it's going to pan out there. But man, it's going to be some interesting NBA basketball here. So you might want to make sure you keep an eye on this because, folks, it is going to be exciting here. And I'm looking forward to the play-in games tonight. And I'm also looking forward to the NBA playoffs, which will start on the 16th. Now, make sure you listen to the MeanGene Show here because we're going to do a Podbean Live from some location during the NBA playoffs. It probably the second round. Expect me, or maybe the conference finals. Expect me. Last year, I was in Milwaukee for the semi finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. So this year could be the West. I don't know. I might make a trip to Memphis and see what the Grizzlies are going to do. I don't know. It's going to be exciting either way. So, man, it's just April. It's just one of those months. We got baseball starting up. And by the way, speaking of baseball, I did reach out to Dave May Jr., the son of the late Dave May Sr., the All-Star, Dave May Sr., who played for the Milwaukee Brewers. We are going to have David May Jr. on to talk about MLB. And David is a scout for the Toronto Blue Jays, and we're going to talk about expectations this year. What do we think is going to happen in baseball? And of course, what almost didn't happen with baseball. So reach out to David, and we're going to get that show done. It's going to be on the iHeart Radio format, so make sure you listen in for that. So now let's go ahead and turn to hey, you know what? I was doing some research. So this is a lot of times when there's nothing on TV and I'm on the internet, and I know people, it's just things that you didn't know. And I always like to share things with people. I didn't know. A survey found that parents worry about their children 37 hours a week. So 6 in 10 parents admit that sometimes the worry is so great it leads to a loss of sleep. So is that true? It's got to be true with teenagers, maybe, especially when you give them like the keys to your car or something. I don't know. I would think that, but 6 in 10 parents admit that sometimes the worry is so great it leads to loss of sleep, and just with teenagers in general, with the violence and the things that happens with teenagers, it's just so different in today's world to be a teenager. But and another thing I didn't know is that the object most hit by vehicles, besides other vehicles, besides you out there going, fender benders and doing that stuff. But the object most hit by vehicles is the tree. People hit a tree more than anything. I don't know why, because the tree ain't moving. The tree's right there, just sitting there. They hit the tree. But the number two thing that people hit with their vehicles is a utility pole. So I guess when you can't find a tree, you ride around and you look for a utility pole. I don't know. I utility pole, it damn sure ain't moving. I can understand how they look like each other. They could. The tree is the tree. The utility pole. The tree becomes the utility pole at some point in time. But I guess you determined to hit something like that. It's just amazing. I did not know that is the object hit most by vehicles, other than vehicles hitting each other. Now that is always number one, but number two is the tree, and uh, and then uh, and then you got the utility pole. Just crazy, 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 crazy. Okay, let's look at the NFL draft here. So you know what we're going to focus on today, because over the next 2 weeks, NFL draft teams, we are going to look at NFL draft team needs in the order of the draft. So this information is provided by NFL.com. And we also going to look at the 32 top players in the draft. And this is according to ProFootballFocus.com. Of course, now it doesn't mean that these players are going to be drafted in this order. As a matter of fact, some teams might choose a player within the top 50 or the top 100, depending on their needs and that player's ability. You got to also remember that many of these players have had individual workouts for teams. So scouts and GMs, pretty much know and have made their minds, have made up their minds on who they might want. So this is really going to be interesting, and it's fun too, because man, I have watched a lot of college draft pick footage here, NFL prospect footage, and it's fun. And I got a whole lot more to watch, but I'm only looking at the first round. So, over the next couple of weeks, I will cover all um 32 picks there. Okay, and remember, you got some teams picking, multiple picks in the first round. So, but I think today we're going to look at the first 5 picks, and that's going to be the Jaguars with the number 1, the Lions with the number 2, Texans with the number 3, Jets with the number 4, and the Giants with the number 5. So how about that? Both New York teams there. You got to get it right, New York. You got to get it right. And boy, those brutal fans. One reason why the draft is not in New York, because New York fans are pretty crazy when it comes to the NFL draft. But man, you get a chance, New York, to get 2 of the top 5 draft picks out there. You got to get it right. So we're going to talk about the needs of the top 5 picks, and this is interesting, very interesting. So how about we start with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Okay, and over the last couple of years, I think they have used their first-round picks and edge rushers. So, at some particular time, that has to equate to wins. You keep getting these top picks here, man. At some point in time, you got to get a you gotta get it right. So it looks like they might end up going back to the same thing. So I'm looking at here, according to NFL.com, the biggest needs for the Jacksonville Jaguars are an edge rusher, offensive lineman, and a wide receiver. Okay, so let's see here. They actually gave up 50 sacks in the last two seasons, which tied for, let's see, tied for the second fewest in the league during that span. So they like that edge rusher, basically. Okay. So that tends to be working. And, they got Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback last year. So that's not, they finished 3-14 last year. So, man, what are they going to do? So do they want an edge? Do they want an offensive lineman? Do they want a wide receiver? So edge rushers. So I did have a chance to look at some of them. And folks, I'm going to tell you, there are so many great edge rushers in this draft. I don't even know where they start. We can, I can tell you, we can start with the top one that's out there, and that's Aiden Hutchinson, the guy from Michigan. He is right now the highest graded edge defender in college football, and this is according to Pro Football Focus. So I don't know. I don't know what Jacksonville is going to do. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to take him. Like I said, they also need an offensive lineman, and there are a ton of them out there. Charles Cross, Mississippi State. Uh, you got you got quite a few of them out there, and I looked at some other ones out there earlier today, and I don't know, but those edge guys, man, there are some great ones, and these guys are so quick. Um, and it just depends on what the Jaguars want, and when it comes to wide receiver, oh my goodness, wouldn't be surprised if they go with Treylon Burks, Arkansas. He's a 6'3", 225 pounds, great size, and he can go up and get it too. I saw a lot of film where he just went up there and grabbed it. And what's so good about Treylon Burks from Arkansas is that his yards after the catch, and he has that speed, so he can go up and get it in traffic, and he can also catch it in the open, and he's got that burst of speed. He can get downfield. So now Jameson Williams is going to be an interesting one if the Jaguars choose to go that route, because remember, now he's a little bit smaller than Treylon Burks, but he has that super speed, good hands. He had that ACL injury is a major concern, but he definitely has separation, and he can get open. So it's going to be interesting to see, because Jacksonville. So with edge rushers and stuff, it seems like they I don't know. They may not go that route. They might just go with the wide receiver, or they might go with the lineman. And of course, man, there are just so, like I said, there are so many great players here in this draft, and you don't want to screw it up. You just don't want to screw it up. Okay, like I said, the last two first round picks, they have invested in edge rushers, so I don't think they're going to go that route. Okay, but um, I think they are probably going to be looking at a wide receiver. That's just my guess. So they're definitely going to have a chance on on uh, on uh, on picking up some. I mean, there are some good ones, and I said um, Jameson Williams, and I talked about Treylon Burks, but there's a ton of wide receivers out there, but those are the top two. So that's going to be interesting to see which way they go. So the number 2 pick belongs to the Detroit Lions. And wasn't it interesting at the end of the NFL season to see how Detroit, and it looked like the Detroit Lions at one particular time was going to get the number 1 pick, but man, they need a quarterback, because we're looking at long term here. Whether or not it's going to be Jared Goff, because remember that swap that the Rams and the Detroit Lions did, and I don't know if the Detroit Lions feel that they have an answer in Jared Goff. So, um, the the need for quarterbacks still, seems to be something that the Lions want, and it may not happen in this year's draft. I don't know. Um, but they need a quarterback. They need an edge uh, guy, and they also need a cornerback. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. I think they might give Jared Goff a chance, and they might just go ahead and pick up on that edge because they realize that the Jaguars probably won't take Aiden Hutchinson. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with Aiden Hutchinson, the guy from Michigan, who is just pretty damn good, the best in college football at that position. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Detroit Lions go there. So and I'm not giving away my mock draft just yet because I haven't really put that together. I'm just kind of looking at, you know, the top guys out there right now, and based on the needs of the Detroit Lions, I think they give Jared Goff a chance, and I think they probably look at getting that edge guy, which I think they can use. So that's what I'm going to say with the with the Detroit Lions. So now we look at the Texans. Texans are going to pick number 3, and they finished with a record of 4-13. And I'm sorry, I go back to the Detroit Lions. They finished with a record of 3-13-1. How can I forget that tie? That one tie came against my Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, so 3-13-1. Jaguars finished 3-14. And remember, there was 17 games last year, so I got to make sure we account for all 17 games. Texans 4-13. So I actually got a chance to see the Texans play one game last year. It was actually the last game of the season. Was it? Was it? Yeah, the last game against the LA Chargers, in which they won. But anyway, so the Texans, they get rid of Deshaun Watson no longer, so they get all of these draft picks. Lovie Smith is going to be your coach, and if you all remember, Lovie Smith was known for his defense. Okay, and so if they're comfortable with Davis Mills at quarterback, it doesn't look like they're going to draft a quarterback, and so they are probably going to be looking at the best player available at that particular spot, and they could use an edge as well, a cornerback and an offensive lineman. So who's going to be there? And I told you, when it comes to the edge position there are a ton of them that's going to be out there. And I mean, come on, just pick one. You got the guy George Karlaftis from Purdue, and man, he is pretty damn good. Um, I, I, and he's definitely in your top 10 there, as far as according to Pro Football Focus there. So he might be, somebody that they might look at. They could also look at Evan Neal, the 6'7", 350-pound monster from Alabama, who is pretty damn good, and the pressure that he puts on people. Um, so you know, eh, I don't know. He's played right and left tackle. So that's another way that the Texans can go. I think they're going to be in a pretty good position. And cornerback, Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, if he's there, if Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame, if he's there, I think the Texans are going to be in a damn good position there with that third pick there. So it's going to be interesting to see um, what they're going to do. So I cannot wait. This draft is really going to be exciting, folks. Trust me, it is going to be super exciting. So let's look at the fourth pick there. The New York Jets, they finished with a record of 4-13. Some of the needs for the Jets is an edge, a wide receiver, and a quarterback. So if they're going to take a step out of the AFC East cellar, which where they have been for I don't know how long, they're going to need to either get an edge guy or they're going to have to get some touchdowns. They're going to need to get a receiver. And Treylon Burks could easily go to the New York Jets. I wouldn't be surprised if he's there because normally he might be the first receiver taken off the board. He just might be, and if that's if the Jaguars don't take him, I don't know. I doubt it, but he definitely might be the first receiver taken off the board if Jameson Williams is going to be interesting. Oh man, you get an ACL injury in the the college playoffs, man, that hurts. I don't know, and we're talking not too long ago. I don't know how I don't. I'm not going to say that hurt his draft uh, status. He will be drafted. It's just a matter of where he's going to be drafted at now, is and how teams have been able to evaluate him and see how he's going to fit into their scheme of things. So anyway, but I do know that the Jets there are going to be in a position to to take him, to take a receiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is Treylon Burks there. And then you have the New York Giants. The New York Giants, they have a new GM there, and man, I tell you, so much turnover from GM position, the head coaching position with the Giants, and they need a lot actually. So they need an offensive tackle, according to NFL.com, an edge rusher, and a tight end. Well, we know tight ends just don't get drafted in the first round. I think everyone knows that. I would be shocked if that was the case. I do have a tight end though, if they choose to take one. And I actually saw Trey McBride, saw his film, man, 6'4". Woo, this guy's big, 6'4", 260 pounds. People compare him to Gronk and Travis Kelce. Has good hands, can get open. I don't know. I just don't see a tight end. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm just saying, if that's the way the Giants want to go, chances are um, this guy, the new GM, Joe Schoen, has an opportunity to get in there and make things, happen for the Giants. And so if they, it looks like it. I'm trying to see what picks they have in the second round, because if they don't get that tight end in the first round, if McBride is there, the Giants are going to have the fourth pick in the second round, which is overall pick number 36. There's a chance they're probably going to get McBride, who is the better tight end. I don't see no one taking him that early there. Jacksonville comes back with the second round order of picks is almost like the first round, with the exception of Houston will have the fifth pick in the second round. But Jacksonville has the first pick in the second round. Detroit has the second pick in the second round. The Jets have the third pick in the second round. The Giants have the fourth pick in the second round. So that tight end position will probably be there. So then, if that's the case, you could probably expect the New York Giants to go ahead and take that 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 offensive tackle, which there's going to be a nice selection of those guys for the Giants. I think they're going to be in pretty good position when it comes to that. I don't think I think they'll be fine. Um, at the offensive tackle. So this is why this draft is going to be so exciting. So Charles Cross, I would think if Evan Neal, either one of those guys could end up with the Giants, um, or Bernhard Raymond from Central Michigan, he could end up there with the Giants as well. But I'm going to think if Evan Neal, uh, or even Akeem Uwunu. See, I knew I was going to mess this guy's name up because I did watch his film. But this dude, oh my goodness, this run blocking guy. They say he's the best run blocking guy in the country from NC State. So let's try his name one more time. Akeem Ekinwanu. All right, I'm okay. I'm sure he would correct me. And what's so bad about it? I gotta get this guy's name right because I'm more than likely to meet him and interview him. So we got what 2 weeks to practice to get this guy's name right. But he is a beast, big guy. So the Giants are going to be in good shape. So I think that this GM has a chance to get two good picks there in that first round. In the second round, you get your offensive tackle, you get your tight end, bam, boom, and you're gonna be sitting pretty. And I will be also at the second round there on Friday night. Is that Friday night? Yes, Friday night. So it's gonna be interesting because I got to celebrate my birthday too, and I got to work. But it's going to be interesting. So those are just sort of the first five picks there, and I'm just kind of going easy on this because man, you hear me mention these other names again because uh, the first five picks, man, uh, they are important because it's going to dictate where the draft is going to go. It does not mean that according to ProFootball.com and that their top five picks here are going to be, and when we look at their top five picks, is Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, the edge guy, Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame, Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, the cornerback, Kayvon Thibodeau. Oh, by the way, he's an edge from Oregon. This guy is built like a bull. And then Charles Cross from Mississippi State to tackle doesn't mean that that's Pro Football's focus dot. That's their top five. You look at ESPN, Fox, everyone has a top five. I have not made up my mind on the top five, and then it doesn't mean that that's exactly what the Jaguars, Lions, Texans, Jets, and Giants are going to do. They could go grab someone down in any of these players in the top 50 based on their needs because as I said, they have tried out, they have did their they've gone to the combines, they did personal workouts for these teams, and these GMs and scouts know what they want. But when so one of these teams might just go deep down there in the top prospects. So, but it dictates how the draft is going to go. Somebody might grab a quarterback and surprise the hell out of everybody. Right now, I don't see any quarterback that's projected to go in the top five, but you never know. So that's why the top fives, I would think, you know, um, Evan Neal, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, as we get closer and, things will leak out, teams, what they're gonna do. Some people would get wind to know, and then the mock draft prospects will be a little bit more accurate. So that's where I'm gonna wait before I release mine. But anyway, the wide receivers, who knows? Someone might take a wide receiver. Who knows? I don't know. But it's gonna change. It's gonna shuffle a little bit. But either way, like I said, quarterbacks out there: Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh, Desmond Ridder, Cincinnati. This guy, a 4-year starter, that matters to people. That a quarterback is in this draft that has started all 4 years. You guys remember Cincinnati, who played against Alabama in the national semifinals. He could be a starter. You got Malik Willis, the quarterback from Liberty. Um, so you just never know what the needs are going to be, and then you still got free agents out there and stuff. So players that don't get what they want will certainly pick up the last of the free agents. So anyway, so I still have more. I still got 17 picks to cover in the first round. So we're gonna get it all done. 27. I'm sorry, still got 27 more picks to cover in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of get that out there. But anyway, I want you to enjoy the NBA play-in games tonight. That's going to be coming up here in about a couple of hours. So hope you enjoyed this Mean Gene show streaming live here on Podbean. get ready for the NBA. And of course, we'll be back here. I think I know we got a baseball show on the iHeartRadio platform, but we more than likely are going to do another NFL draft show here on the Streaming Live show. All right. So enjoy your evening. We'll see you back here again on the MeanGene Show, streaming live here on Podbean.